What's up, everyone? It's Gavin or Tweek.
What up, what up? It's Charles or Chuck.
What's going on? It's Hazmatt. Wow, we got an upbeat tempo today. You guys are in a rush today. All right.
Got
Let's
my
slow
cup
it
of
down
coffee.
a
I'm
little
ready.
bit. Yeah, I know. Speed run of this intro. What's going on, everyone? How's it going, guys? Do a little around the horn here. How you doing, Charles? How's it going, man?
I'm doing good. Just actually got done commentating Pokemon Unite, which I'm really excited that me and Haz have a block together.
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon tonight at the end of the month. So super excited about that. One of the games we have a lot of fun playing. And I know Gavin has been on a journey of playing a bunch of other games. I know this year you've played a ton of other games, and I know you finished a couple. So give us a little update on your gaming journey, Mr. Gamer Pro Gamer Guy.
Yeah. Thank you, I think. I recently finished Super Mario 64 100%. I always played it as a kid, but obviously you just move around for 30 minutes and then you do something else. Well, at least that's what I did. And I also went back and fully completed 3D World. B and I played through like 90% of it, but I just knocked the rest out just because I plan on playing Bowser's Fury. That's why we played 3D World in the first place. So yeah, played some like more like traditional Mario games. Had a good time. Also started Moon RPG. It's a game that recently got localized to the US a year or two ago. It's kind of the original like anti RPG, if that makes sense. Uh, like Mother 3, Earthbound kind of thing. It's kind of like the big inspiration for some of those things. Yeah, Undertale is one of them. Yes, uh, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Still practicing Smash and streaming a bit. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm doing pretty well. How
What about you, Haz?
Oh,
Dude, I'm good. I'm chilling. I know Gavin knows this, but I fell back in love with a game called Dead Cells, which is a really fun roguelite, whatever. One of those games, you know what I'm talking about. And the thing with the game is it came out a while ago, like a couple years ago, but they've added so much DLC, and the game is so addictive. Like I literally had to tell myself like I'm done playing it for a while because I'll start a run and like runs last anywhere from 10 to like 40 minutes or maybe even a little bit longer or shorter. And it's just like I gotta like because I'll like finish a run, I'll either die or finish it, and be like, damn, all right, I'll do one more. I got time for one more. And then before I know it, like the sun's coming up, and I'm like, all right, this is crazy. Like I need to stop, but one more real quick, you know, like it'll be a quick one. And you get a dope weapon in the beginning or something. Like, all right, this will be a fun run. I'll do this. It's a really fun game. They did Castlevania DLC, which is obviously I played it a few years ago, and then I got back into it when the Castlevania DLC came out. Obviously, of course. So that was fun. I'm back on Unite big time. I dropped Dead Cells. I'm back into Unite for a little while. Been really enjoying the game again as much as you can with the meta as it is right now, especially because Charles and I are casting it, as we alluded to earlier. So yeah, everything's been good, man. I've been busy with work, busy with all that stuff. And, you know, I watched a couple tournaments this weekend. I wasn't as much in viewership mode as I usually am. One of them, because Sumabato Major was one of them coming down. I think looking at that tournament too, I stayed up for as much of it as I could. Akola won it, and I was saying earlier to Tweek that it was kind of like a tournament of game fives. It felt like where there were a lot of potentials for huge upsets or big wins, and they just didn't happen in the fifth game. Like I know Mia and Akola went to game five. It felt like Mia definitely could have taken that set at certain points, but you know Akola came out on top. Akola actually won the tournament without losing a set. One of the biggest results is Yoshi did get second. It wasn't Yoshidora. It was actually Ron. Shout out to Ron if you guys remember Ron. Really good Japanese player who I feel like is either inactive or just not showing up to a lot of stuff lately, but getting second place, only losing to Akola is pretty insane. Yeah, let's see. He lost to Akola and he's in losers early on. So he lost to Akola and Grands. And then the other one that I wanted to call out, there was a really good Fox player, Charles. I don't know if you've heard about them a lot. Canopy. I don't know if you know.
No.
A really good Fox was down 2-0 against Mia in Fox Game & Watch and almost reversed 3-0. Like brought it to a game 5. Like really, really, really impressive Fox. Made top 8. And Yoshidora didn't even make to top 8. So it's crazy that we had a Japanese Yoshi in top 8. And it wasn't Yoshidora. So I think, I mean, we can't cover obviously everything from that. And I mean, to be honest with you, I couldn't watch a ton of it because it's on so late over there. I forgot it was happening, so I was ready for bed by the time it started. But I watched as much as I could. Shouts to my man Asimo, make it top 8 as always. He's so consistent over there. I love to see it. But a tournament I did get to watch a bunch of actually was a Canadian Invitational tournament that was a lot of fun. I think it was in Quebec, and Armadillo won it. A lot of great classic Canadian players there. Venom was there. Of course, I watch a lot of Venom. Yeah, it was a really good tournament. Kels was there casting. Like, it was a fun, cool little Canadian event that Armadillo took down. So it's always good. I know Gavin loves Lucario, so it's good to see some good Lucario play there.
He's got a lot of Lucario plushes and even his Lucario onesie, which is. I'm just kidding.
Wait, what? I thought you were talking about something else.
I was trying to say you have that, but
that is not going to make it an episode, I don't think.
I do think Lucario is super underrated, and I actually play with Armadillo a bunch, and it's a lot of my inspiration for thinking Lucario is better than people think. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Armadillo has been doing really well. Got a lot of crazy top player wins at some of the recent tournaments. Like, I know he beat Shoutout and stuff like that. And I didn't really watch anything this weekend. Like Has said, it's kind of hard to keep up with all the time zone differences and stuff. But I do want to say I think Yoshi deserves his props. Because I feel like it's a character that, like, we're like 4 or 5 years into Ultimate, and Yoshi's the type of character that would only go downwards if we're talking historically in a Smash game. But in Melee and Ultimate, Yoshi's actually not doing that at all. In fact, Yoshi's kind of like a household name in, top 8s and whatnot. So shoutouts to Yoshi, man. Just like fundies, just a normal guy.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, he's just chilling. Him and Ness. I always put him and Ness together. They always were those guys. Yeah,
those are characters that usually have some peaks early on, and that's about it in Smash 4 and Ultimate. But I feel like Yoshi specifically deserves his props. Yoshidora and Ron doing really well, and it feels like it's a breath of fresh air into the meta, and there's a lot of room for growth. And yeah, I just feel like Yoshi deserves his credit because I don't know, it's just not a common occurrence, to be honest, and it's been on the uprise for the past year or so. So
in multiple games, there was a Yoshi in grand finals and winners finals of Smash 64 for SmashCon, so that was really cool. And the Yoshi player was from Japan, so another coincidence there. Japan, they know how to hold it down with the Yoshis, man. In multiple games, obviously.
Definitely connection there.
Crazy. And then all the best Yoshis are like I guess the best Yoshis globally are from Japan, obviously, with Yoshidora. So really cool coincidence. And I know we were talking about the Canadian Invitational. Speaking of invitationals, we got Watch the Throne coming on up. The opt-in phase is just going to be pretty much ending when this video releases. So we're going to have a ton of players opt in. It's going to be summit style voting. So we're going to have a shop ready to go. But first is going to be the nomination phase. So it's going to be a bunch of social media stuff. Make sure to go ahead and retweet and like the players that you want to get into the voting phase for Watch the Throne, and make sure to interact with them on social media. That's how we're going to decide who has the most social media points. And then we're going to get, I believe it's going to be a cut to the final 16 and then go into the voting phase from there. So if you guys want to keep up to date with all of that stuff, it's WTT Events on Twitter to keep up with everything. And of course, you should already know all the base invited players. It's going to be crazy. The talent pool is going to be insane. And I'm looking very much so forward to this. And I guess around the horn, which player would you guys like voted in from the voting phase? There's 3 spots. But, your favorite player that you would like to get in?
Tweek.
Tweek's already invited.
That's not my choice. No, I was passing the question to him because I don't want to answer.
Okay.
What are my choices?
I mean, just a player that you would like to see get voted into the tournament. Who would you like to play in tournament? I know you want all the Pac-Man, the Duck Hunt. Yeah. Pac-Man,
Armadillo.
Duck Hunt, Armadillo. I'm pretty sure you would love Armadillo in the bracket, right?
I think like Jackal Ouch would be cool.
Ouch is a good one.
I'm a big fan of Wolf. I'm also a big fan of DK, so if any DK player opts in, I'm cheering for you.
Oh, Chunky Kong?
Could be a Noodle in there.
or Hikaru. Like I'm a big fan of those two. Any Diddy player too. Like yeah, I'm not sure if Aaron is down, but I would love to see Aaron there and all that. Yeah, I would go with those.
What about you, Hez?
Gluto's
Yeah, I
already
think
in. So.
Yeah, Gluto's in already. Yeah.
my easy one is Mars. Obviously, I think he's
I
just a
was gonna
great
say that.
personality and stuff. He's the easy
Oh,
pick.
I forgot. Yeah, that's a good one.
I know. I almost like assume he's going, but he isn't obviously, or not yet. At least, hopefully, he does go in some way. But Mars is at the top of the list. Then obviously any of the top Kens, so Takara, Jazzo, Vendetta, any of those guys, I'd be happy to see, and then Dom as well. For Belmont. So any of my favorite characters plus Mars is my answer. And not Void.
Not Void. Dang, that's the second hypest player in the world. Chill, man.
It's the best. He's just wait. If he's only the second hypest, but he's the best gamer ever, how does that work?
I'm not too sure. I mean, 1 and 2, not too bad. Speaking of my pick, in terms of hypest players, I would want the hypest player to be at the tournament. Zachary would be very sick to have at this tournament.
Zachary is one of the best Smash Ultimate players of all time.
Agreed.
All time. I agree. Zachary is amazing. He brings a lot of different characters to the mix. I know he had his Pit phase, but I would like to also see him play like Pit with some other meta characters.
I mess with the Pit phase, bro.
Is he over that?
I think I saw him enter a tournament playing other characters like other than Pit, like Joker.
I think he plays a handful still. It's
bro,
like it's new and old kind of thing.
It's so weird to say, but I miss his Rob. Like that. Like when are you ever gonna say that about a player ever? That you want to see them play more Rob?
Yeah.
What the hell?
His
Rob was
really
insane.
fucking good.
He was the best Rob for a while, in my opinion. Like there was a pretty significant gap. But that was a long time ago. So another player I would like to see was Riddles. I would love to see Riddles just to add that fighting game character. I think Riddles is a premium package when it's like, oh, do you want to just see FGC characters? Boom, Riddles is in there. Bang, you get the whole variety.
He's just a pillar of Ultimate, and it's kind of like what Haz said with Mars, where like you forget that you should be suggesting it because you're used to him just being there in the first place. So,
and then
should be there as I'd say Zomba's a good ad too.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
Zomba or Neo, like there's so many good picks.
Great one, yeah. Good Corrin would be amazing to see.
Yeah,
but in order to get in, Charles, we would have had to already opted in. And then, guys, we're doing Summit style of voting, so we're gonna have a sick shop. Like the merch is actually, I don't know. Have you seen it, Charles, on the channels?
Yes.
Like the early,
I'm very excited.
Me too, actually. I'm not like just hyping it up because like it's a part of the merch for our tournament. But holy shit, it's really good. Like I'm really really excited.
And voting's always fun too, right? Like just voting, the players going into it and stuff like that.
So it's heavily inspired by Summit, like all that good stuff. Like I feel like we haven't been getting the message across clearly, but I think everyone should be more excited for this tournament than they are. So tell a friend about the tournament. Make sure everyone knows in your circles, and we'll make sure that we keep spreading the word here too, because we want this thing to be successful. Because as we've said since the beginning, it is by Smash Ultimate people for Smash Ultimate people, and we really want to have a special and good event at the Guild House, which I think is one of the best venues in the country, honestly. So I'm really happy about that, and I really want to see this event succeed. So. Yeah, cool. Well, with that, Charles, any other tournaments you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about invitationals. Obviously, Watch the Throne is going to be an offline invitational, but we're also involved with Stride for an online invitational, the Stride Summit Online. So make sure to check that out. It's going to go down on September 30th. They have a bunch of invited players. Tweek, Light, and Cosmos from the podcast are invited, so they're going to be in that tournament. They just had a qualifying tournament last weekend, which was fantastic. Me, Has, Last, and Bam commentated that. So 2 players qualified through that. So that's going to be really sick. And of course, there is 6 vote-in spots. So there are, very similar to Summit style voting system where there's no shop, but you can get votes by joining Discords, following Twitter accounts and stuff like that. So super excited about that, and I can't wait for this $4,000 prize pool Stride Summit Online Invitational. I know Tweek was talking about like, I don't know what character to run. It would be really cool if Tweek went with like something all Donkey Kong or something like that. I know you've been working on the DK yourself, Gavin, so it'd be really cool if we saw like a full bracket of maybe one of your other pocket picks that you were seriously thinking about for a tournament. I know previously you talked about how you were thinking about going Donkey Kong against Spargo at Terra, which would have been really interesting. Obviously, good thing
I almost did it.
You almost did it, but
It's
you
good
won
you
with
didn't.
yeah, you won with Diddy Kong with like a crazy clip at the
Not
end. I think you made the right choice.
not that you could. Yeah, you're right. There's no better outcome than what had happened right there. Is all. Unless you
It's
value a
interesting,
DK
though,
win more.
because what if I barely lost that game 5? Then maybe the conversation would be
But you
completely
didn't. But you
different.
didn't. So what?
But you didn't though. But it
Yeah,
hit though.
exactly.
I mean, winning with Diddy or DK is equally good. They're both
Really?
goated.
I mean, winning with Donkey Kong sounds way harder.
Well, and
Is it?
difficulty is. I just meant I like both of those characters a lot.
Oh, I see.
That's what I was surprised that you wouldn't say you like Diddy a little bit more.
And like overall, like playing, I like Diddy the most. But I mean, DK is it's like a legacy thing for me. Even though Diddy
Yeah.
kind of is too, but just not as much like on camera or anything. Because I've actually been playing Diddy Kong for a long time in Smash 2, but it was mostly in like Project M and stuff.
Oh, you said the forbidden title.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I mean, Project M was a lot of fun. Like
Oh yeah.
Diddy was insane. I mean, I think he's always been insane in that game. I mean, it's Diddy. Like he's just always good. Like, bro,
What's the beginning of Ultimate?
have you ever hit a Diddy fair in PM?
Ugh,
It's
I've
like a
gotten hit
smash
by
back
them.
sometimes.
I hate
Like
his
that
fair.
shit is strong, and it's brawl fair like hitbox. I don't know why.
Diddy's fair. Like playing against it in Smash 4 made me see red. Like I got so mad when I get hit by that move. I'm like, I didn't deserve to get hit there. Like,
Oh, that move was crazy.
It was,
Yeah.
dude. It made me
It's
so
still
mad.
it's still something else, but
Yeah.
you know, the game's engines are different, so things kind of change. But like they buffed it a little bit, so it's a little back to its former glory. Maybe not quite the same, but
It doesn't hit the same. As someone who is used to getting hit by it a lot, it is not hit the same.
do
It's
you
not
guys
like it
think
used to.
forward air or back air are better? I think back air is probably better.
Back air is better.
Yeah. Overall, yeah.
In Smash 4, I would say I'd give it to forward air specifically in Smash 4 because that like played neutral for you.
As a Diddy player, it's kind of interesting though when it comes to fair and bear, because fair's like bigger than back air, but back air's stronger despite being able to do 2 in a short height. It's like weird how like the strengths like they're not where you would expect. Like you would expect forward air to be maybe a better closer move because it's like, you know, it has more lag and everything like that. But like it's really interesting as a Diddy player. Like I always think about that once in a while. Like back air is like the easier move to throw out and everything, but it's also stronger. It's just it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
mean
need
the
it off
activity is
stage
the main
too, I'd
thing.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, forward air is also more active,
That's the big one for fair is the
Yeah.
activity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like
slightly
it's-
bigger, all that stuff.
Smash 4
I guess
is like
more than
insane.
it's not just slightly bigger; it's a lot bigger.
It makes me mad.
So, of course, before we get on with the episode, I'm going to shout out the Patreon real quick. If you guys enjoy the show, the best way to support us is through the Patreon. We're going to be recording bonus content at the end of this episode for all of our Patreons. And the topic is going to be actually one of the questions that was asked through the Patreon. And the Patreon wants to know what is the difference between best of 3, best of 5. Obviously, Gavin is one of the best players in the world, so he can go ahead and dive into that in the perspective of Ultimate and other Smash games that he's competed in, and me and Haz can also throw in our competitive experience as well, and even just like kind of the pacing and the casting for best of 3s compared to best of 5s. I think it's a very interesting topic, and tournaments have kind of been changing. There's some tournaments that literally the whole thing is best of 5, so definitely a topic that I think a lot of people in the Smash community should be educated on, or at least like kind of hear different perspectives on it, right?
And we also are at 414 patrons at the moment, which is quite the number. I really appreciate the support to the Patreon. We've kind of reformatted it a little bit. We do content just every week. It's smaller, but we do it more times a week, more times a month, that is. So, yeah, thank you so much for supporting it. And, let's see if we can reach, like 450, 500 or something. We'll see.
You gotta get at least 6 more is what I gotta say about it. But with that, with that being said, let's talk about, dude. Before we get into more Smash stuff, can we talk about like there were so many things like Nintendo Direct and the PlayStation updates as well?
Oh,
State of Play, is that what it's called, bro?
Yeah, State of
Gavin,
Play.
you're like feasting after that. Are you serious? Like,
yeah,
dude,
it's been overwhelming.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, none of it is like out yet, so it's all right. But yeah, some
what
of
was
my
your favorite announcement? I knew you'd be mad.
actually still RPG, Mario
No
RPG.
way. Shut up.
Really?
It's the
There's
oldest
no
game
way.
out of all of them.
It's the what?
Okay.
It's the oldest game. Well, I didn't mention. I said all of them. Like people know what I'm talking about. Between like Thousand Year Door, FF7, like we already like remake already kind of exists. That trailer was like the craziest thing I've ever seen. But Mario RPG like hasn't existed. Like
Remake? Dude, the thing with remake is the new game. Yeah, remake exists, but not like that. Like, what was that? That was endless
dude, don't get me wrong. You made me
content.
choose between three things that are very amazing. Like,
Oh
but
yeah, I
so
know. I
like
did it on
okay,
purpose.
I'm talking about this stuff. So for RPG,
He's talking.
it's a really
I'm
old
talking.
game. And it has everything you would want too. It's beautiful. It has remixed music, but you can also pick the original music at
That's
any
so
time.
cool.
There's
Perfect.
there's
Beautiful.
there's like new game plus type of stuff, which like any fan, that would be one of the biggest things on their list is like kind of bonus content a little bit, like boss rematches that are super hard. Like Booster was doing like 999 damage to the whole party, like in that trailer. Like that's like amazing. And if there's little Easter eggs or even more stuff, like then it's cherry on top. Like it is the most anticipated thing for me still, and there's a lot to be excited about. So like, please don't think I'm shitting on the other things, but I'm just serious about this one. So, but Thousand Year Door is also incredible because it looks amazing. Every textures are updated. Characters have back sprites that didn't have back sprites. Originally, it was only Peach and Mario. Every character has back sprites, new animations. There's a lot more emotion in all the characters. Not even just like Mario and the partners, like everyone. It is insane. Like the music is so high quality. And like if it goes with the RPG route, imagine the bonus content we might get. There's random like NPCs in the trailer that did not exist. Like there's a purple toad that was not there. Who are you? Like if we get to like in the game, you like talk to Luigi and he's having his own adventure and you're getting updated on it as you progress through the game. What if you can play through that?
Oh,
well, that's
my
ambitious.
God.
I can't believe you just put that.
But
Out there.
think
I thought
it's
you were gonna.
fair. If it's a 2024 game and not a shadow drop like the other GameCube ones, so it's very possible. I think it's very possible.
The thing I like that you're highlighting a lot is these aren't just like ports; they are true remakes where they're adding to the games,
It's
but
it's so soulful and like faithful. Like
they are respecting the games. Like people who are involved in these projects, including FF7, the
Yes.
remake, clearly care very very much about these games, as they should, because it's very delicate to redo. Like you said, all three of these games are 10 out of 10s. All FF7, all the originals, FF7, Mario RPG, and Thousand Year Door, and N64 Paper Mario is also a 10 out of 10. But all three of those games are 10 out of 10s that mean a lot to a lot of people, and they're being very respectful. Like you said, the switch between the two music is like a great sign. Adding new content, great sign, but not messing with the original. You always give people the option to play it just how it was, like new combat mechanics, all that stuff. FF7 is obviously a little different because they like redid the whole game, but the music, the things they highlighted in the trailer, like the shots that they showed, the way they transition things, you can just tell the team that's involved, at least who made the trailer and who is making the stuff for the game, really give a fuck. And that is so important because there have been like remakes or ports that weren't that good. Like I think a Chrono Trigger's port, not very great for the DS. Like they added new content, but it didn't really do anything or add anything. There's like an alternate ending and final boss, which is kind of cool, but
like adding content and like adding content. Like
they kind of just like duct tape a bunch of shit to the game. You know what I mean? Which sucks. You don't want that. You want what they're doing here, where like it naturally kind of weaves into the original fabric of the game.
There's also like so many
seems
like little things for Thousand Year Door because obviously it's like like 2005 or something like that. But there was like a text sound for dialogue in the game, and it was just that's the text sound. Every character has their own little like sounding voice, like Koops is like a Koopa voice. Obviously Luigi, like you can tell it's Luigi, and it's like it's so amazing. You would think that's always been a thing. Like it's perfect. Like it's like exactly like Has said. Like it's so like they're like doing surgery on this game to make sure it's still Thousand Year Door type of thing. But it's so amazing. The little like there's little references with like the background with like the picture with all the partners and like the map of Super Paper Mario or something like that, and like getting into Rebirth, which is like a lot harder to talk about because there's like that trailer is like I kept telling B, like as corny as it sounds, it truly felt like I watched a trailer for like the next generation of video games, and I don't know how else to say it. Like, especially as someone that's primarily like a Nintendo guy, like a Switch guy, or like I play like maybe older games that are usually still Nintendo. When I'm looking at that, I'm like, what? Like it's beautiful, and like it feels like limits are being like no pun intended. Like the limits are being tested for video games on a remake for Final Fantasy VII, and like how lucky are we for that? It really
Yeah.
feels like they're pushing it for of all games FF7. Like it's crazy. It's incredible.
100 hours, crazy.
Yeah,
Like the bar is getting set so high
yeah,
in terms of just like graphics and all that stuff.
bro.
And the
I watched
collector's edition, 19 inches of Sephiroth. Like, come on, bro, that's
Haven't
insane.
got it.
Oh, I know Gavin got it. That was like frame one. Gavin got that. You can't turn that
I helped him
down.
get it. Yeah, I saw it come up. I'm like, I'm not getting this, but I know someone who will.
Yeah, I got it. I already have a Sephiroth statue in my living room, so who knows what's gonna happen with that. Yeah, like I truly lost it at how tasteful and like ridiculous and how much effort was put into the mini games from like the arcade.
Oh,
Like,
true.
why did they do that? It is so insane how perfect everything looks. It looks insane. Yeah, I can't wait. I've been waiting to buy a PS5, but I bought a PS5 that day. So
Dang it, forced your hand.
yeah, it's like I'll be ready, super ready for this. But yeah,
Plus, yeah.
crazy stuff.
I was gonna say like they're more like love letters to the games rather than like them trying to like repaint the Mona Lisa or something like that, right? Like you don't do that. So they're doing a great job, and a part of it is that stuff sells, as long as you do it correctly too. Like that's obviously a part of it. And I mean, look at something like if they keep selling, people they're gonna keep reinvesting into them and like re-releasing and like making these games come out so new generations, new people can enjoy them, which is amazing.
Truly
that reminds me that.
timeless.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the F-Zero game 2, where I know people were initially disappointed, but I was watching the trailer for F-Zero 99. I was like, dude, yeah, I'd be a little disappointed if I was like a huge F-Zero guy and like really wanted to see a new Captain Falcon and
It's a
like
lot
whatever.
of fun. B and I played it for like an hour.
It looked really fun. I was like, yeah, that sucks, but you better
Coney's
go download it.
Strapped to his chair. He can't stop playing it.
Who?
Coney.
Oh, Coney, really?
He loves it.
That's funny.
I mean, everyone the word I keep seeing is addicting, and like, let's see if this is a breath of fresh air for the franchise. I have a couple friends that love it. I have like no stock in F-Zero. Never played it. Don't like.
Me neither.
It's just Smash Bros to me. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm happy for other people, and I think it's very interesting how we're in an era of like remakes and like callbacks to other series, and it's probably because there's going to be a successor console to the Switch or whatever in the next year or two. And that doesn't mean we're in a bad era for gaming. It's just different, like with remakes and remasters. And it's very possible we'll see a couple more things. So, maybe start praying for your favorite game to get some love or something. But
nothing's off
another
the table.
thing that was interesting about Thousand Year Door to me, last comment, sorry about that, is that they took a lot of expressions for like Mario and stuff from things like Origami King, like recent Paper Mario. And like usually they would just stand there while things were going down, but Mario does the whole like crazy like scared expression sometimes or something like that. And they gave it to like other characters too, or like characters like crying a little bit, like. And something else is Origami King. Like I played through it over quarantine, and obviously I don't think it's that good at all. But it still has the Paper Mario charm, like in the world and stuff. But it doesn't have like the crazy cool characters as much either. But it still has like the vibe a lot of the time, and it's fairly popular. Like I know, like it's popular among, younger kids and stuff, and it's still like has that charm that like a lot of games just don't have. Like Paper Mario is kind of unique to itself. And I think it's cool that they are they're like breathing fresh air into things or taking some of the cool things from new Paper Mario. And like the diehard fans of the old games, I feel like they didn't bat an eye at that, or they actually noticed and liked it. And that's just so interesting how, because that's a slippery slope to do that.
Mhm.
Like regardless of what it is, from like a newer game to an older game. And I don't know, I'm so excited. Like seeing Yoshi Kid with like a modern Paper Mario type animation is so interesting, but it was so perfect. And yeah, I'm at the point in my life, like, because I haven't I've played a lot of games. I grew up with Nintendo, and I have my favorites and stuff. But this year, I've played a lot of games, and I'm kind of at the point where I'm just excited for people to play these games that haven't, especially if they're on the younger side. And like if they like things like Origami King, like holy shit, they're gonna love Thousand Year Door. Or like it's crazy that like even people my age might not have played Mario RPG. Like
Yeah.
and
I mean,
now I'm just thinking of like what's next. What would I want to see Nintendo like kind of do their little surgery and remaster and like put some extra polish on some classic games. Like I know what I would pick if I could pick one game. Well, it's kind of like two, but like one.
Is it Donkey Kong?
It's like one of those rareware 3D collectathons. Whether it's like a new
Conker's
game.
Bad Fur Day.
No, it's between Banjo and DK64. If they ever did something, Banjo's in a weird spot because Microsoft and everything. But if they remade and like cleaned up like some of the mess, or like did like their little polishes that like don't even like ruin the integrity of the game and actually enhance it, like with DK64, because it's my childhood game, but we all know it's not perfect. And I know Charles can say the same thing. Like if they like breathed some air into that and remade it,
it'd be amazing.
That's like everyone has that one game where if they saw it on their screen, they would like lose their mind. And like I feel like those types of things that's like my one thing. Where like this is what I would die for, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, these kids got it good, man. Imagine starting Paper Mario series with Origami King, and then you just get to go uphill from there. Like, oh yes, everything's just I'm eating good the whole way through. You'll never go lower than Origami King ever.
Depends on who you ask, but it is
or like close, pretty much.
It's first or second worst, probably.
Yeah, usually bottom two.
My game for what you mentioned, Gavin, is Final Fantasy VI, which is like my favorite game of all time, because Square has done a lot of remakes for games.
Yeah,
like I'm not even just talking about 7, which is obviously the biggest and the best of all
the
remakes.
There's levels to something like that. Like what kind of remake are we talking about? Yeah,
I'd want it in 3D. Like I want a nice little, extra content. Like we know what the format is. Like that's what I'd want.
Copy paste Final Fantasy VII remake to that.
Like, yeah. Oh my god, it'll never get that. It'll never get that. But dude,
they've been working on this Rebirth stuff since like 2019. So
yeah, dude, I know they must be excited to unveil and stuff, man. It's great. Yeah, games are in a good spot right now, man. It feels like the hits just keep on coming. Like every week something else amazing comes out. It's unbelievable. So it's been really good because I feel like we're going through a little bit of a drought.
I still don't understand, like with Nintendo side of things, like why? Like because Mario RPGs already have like they went from like none of this to a lot of it. I don't know if it's connected to the Mario movie or if it's coincidence or if we should expect more of it or like new stuff similar. Like I guess I shouldn't question it. I'm just happy, but like, it's like, okay.
And you want to understand the method to the madness.
I think Mario Wonder is insanely charming and like exciting because of how like kind of bland 2D Mario has been for a lot of it. And I'm not saying it's all bad, but like, it's not like extremely charming or like a breath of fresh air. Like the new Super Mario Brothers series, like it was super cool on the DS, but they started to do that a lot. So I don't know. I think it's very clear that it's the type of thing towards the end of a console like the Switch, where they get a little weird and they throw back some remakes, and so I think it's exciting for a lot of reasons. It's exciting for what's coming out, and it's also exciting because we're probably going to get a new console eventually. So,
which always means with a new Nintendo console, see ya. Maybe we talk about that next episode.
Yeah,
Maybe
Super
we talk
Smash
about
Brothers.
bring it back to the program, baby. Super Smash Brothers. Speaking of, that was amazing, by the way. Thanks, Gavin, for. Because
Sorry,
I've heard your rants a
I
million times. No, they're great though. They're good.
Yeah.
You clearly care a lot about
Great.
that stuff, and I'm glad you're broadening your horizons as a gamer. Like you're like, oh, I can't wait for other people to play these games. You've been doing that to me for like this whole year. Where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this game now. I'm like, dude, I love that Mario RPG. You've never played that before? Are you kidding me? It's like the best game ever. One thing we've been working on with bringing it back to Smash just a little bit. I'm sorry.
No,
Stride Esports, they have a really cool Discord that I joined over the weekend because I was working on casting the event. If you join this Discord, they have like online weeklies. It's just a really good resource for Smash Ultimate players. So make sure you guys check that out and join the Stride Esports Discord. I'm sure we can get a link in our bio here. But even better, with that Discord, we have a little Q&A section up, and we're going to go through and answer as many questions as we can today, and then, kind of keep it going. So you guys good to talk about some Smash Ultimate questions here that we have?
for sure.
Yes.
All right.
So if you guys want to ask questions, make sure there's a QR code and the link right there on the screen, or you can go, I think it's like discord.gg/stride is the link for all the audio listeners if you want to go ahead and just join on in the Discord. And if you can't find the channel, just make sure to go to browse channels and look for the podcast Q&A section, and then underneath there you can ask questions to Coach's Corner, Lights Out, or Tweek Talks. So we're going to start off just from the top here.
Nice and easy.
So Blaze asks, how do you stay humble while also staying competitive in a tournament environment? I want to have the confidence to beat everyone. That's a lot of confidence, but I also don't want to underestimate anyone.
I think starting on the confidence side is good, and then adjusting your expectations as you go is a good thing to do, because I think it's harder to dig yourself out of being unconfident. Like, there's no way I can beat this player. Like, it's never going to happen. Like, that seems a lot harder for me to do. I think starting with confidence and then realizing where you're getting yourself in trouble in the match. And, like, I think one thing you always need to realize is when you play in a tournament, the other player's working really hard to beat you as well. Some people have, like, protagonist syndrome. They're like, well, I've been in the lab all week and I've been watching VOD, so no one can beat me. It's like, well, realizing that your opponent is probably also doing those things and giving them respect can help you a lot as a player, I found too. Like, instead of being like, damn, I got cheesed, I got spiked at 30, that's such bullshit, I shouldn't have lost. It's like, well, damn, maybe they read my double jump, maybe I'm doing something stupid. Like, you got sometimes give your opponent credit can really help you grow as a player, would be my overall advice.
Yeah, for me, I think that whatever I like instilling that you should have confidence in your like training or your preparation up until the current event. So that is a way, like, to me, that's the most common way to boost your confidence, right? Like, oh, I have been in the lab and I've done this and that. Like, I feel confident because I have been working on like X, Y, or Z ledge trapping or edge guarding, right? Yada, yada, yada. And then kind of go into the tournament. That's like the foundation of your confidence. And then from there, if there's things to work on, then you add it to the regiment, and then you kind of just constantly build it up from there. I think that's like the most simple answer I can put out.
I really like y'all's answers. I think there's a lot of things to talk about for this, but I think the thing I would like to throw in that's valuable to me is the whole idea of staying present and what that can do for confidence, and also trying to be a humble is, a lot of the time, a lot of the negativity might be from a source of something that isn't like super present in the moment. Like, oh, I should have beat this person, or, I want to get this placing, or I want to be this rank. Like, a lot of the time it isn't, it's, in the past or in the future or something. And I think something that can help everyone is doing what they can to be present in the moment. And I think that also helps with playing well and being confident in game, right? Because that's what's in front of you, and it's probably the most important thing. And that's the biggest thing for me is, like, giving yourself any methods to helping yourself stay in the moment, and trying to separate, things that might be unnecessary to playing your best and things that are necessary to playing your best. That's the number one thing for me.
Nice. Next question from Wisteria? ? Which characters do you guys think is broken that hasn't broken out yet / isn't talked about enough, and why do you think we aren't seeing them?
We all
let me
know
pull up
Gavin's
the
answer.
characters because once again, there's a lot.
Lucario. Come on,
Yeah.
just say it,
we
Gavin.
only get to pick one each. My answer, I'm going to stick it from the last podcast when I said my underrated character. I think it's Marth. I still stand by Marth. I think Marth, and I think the main problem is the like overshadowing from Lucina, and Lucina is just easier. I would love to see someone like Leo give Marth a serious shot, but I also understand that the risk factor in that is like extremely high for a player that is established as him. But I do think Marth has a bunch of crazy confirms that can just rob stocks at like 30%, and they're not even crazy complicated or anything. Smash University made a video with the Marth Discord and Ignaze on a bunch of these confirms like years ago. So I think he has a lot of potential. And I don't know if he's better than Lucina, but a lot of people put the gap really far, and I don't think the gap is as far as people think. What about you, Hez?
I'm looking right now. I don't remember who I said for that one. But I'd say honestly, one character I'd say that I think is a little underrated is Hero. I think he's really good. I think he has a really solid game plan. I think he's not played because he got a little overshadowed by other DLC. And he's a sword user, so it's like that's an easy avenue to go down with other easier sword characters that might be a little more fun. But I think Hero has good matchups against good meta characters, like including Steve, including Game & Watch, like being able to buff up and do all this other stuff. I think Hero's a little underrated, honestly, is how I feel about them. And I think the reason people don't play him is because they'd rather play someone else.
I think those are really great answers from both of you. For me, like I think there's a lot of solid picks, but I'll pick a character that I really like that I kind of relate to as well for the characters I play that I think is really good. I think the players are already really good, but I think could do even better is Mega Man. I think Mega Man's fantastic. I also think he's a really hard worker and he's a lot of fun. And I think the players are great people and really hard workers themselves. And I think they have a lot of potential for success, like pretty much all of them. So shouts to Mega Man as a character and shouts to all the people who play him for sure because he's really, really cool.
I was thinking he came to my mind. Him and Link, like in the same way, kind of came to my mind. Mega Man better, obviously, and Samus better than both of them. But either way.
Yeah.
I like this one. Nico Lad says, "Don't have a question. Just wanted to let Tweek know that his tank top pop off was raw and based." Thank you, Nico Lad.
Thank you. It's always something that I'm not thinking about in the moment, but I get a little embarrassed afterwards. But
you do be doing that.
It was really hot. It was really hot.
Yeah, but you did it at Summit too, though. You've done it a couple times. Yeah. It's like your light sleeves. I like it. It's good. I'm sure Luminosity doesn't love it.
Put the jersey back on, Jim.
Put it back on, Jim.
We threw our jersey on the ground. What the fuck?
They need to just get you a Luminosity tank. They need to think ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
I know. I'm always, bro.
What the heck? Someone hire this man.
I need a new Luminosity hat because that would kind of defeat all of those things at once because it's not a shirt at all. But
yeah.
But you're pulling out the hat's gonna go. Did you pick the hat back up? I'm confused. All right, Chuck. What's the next one?
Well,
all right.
I don't think I'm gonna be throwing my clothes off that often.
Next question is
anyway.
Nephalis. If you guys could pick one character from Ultimate and give them a balance, update / rework, who would you pick and what buffs, nerfs, and new tech would you give to said character? Holy shit. Okay, that's a lot to unpack here. Dude. I would rework Sonic. And I don't even mind making Sonic really good, but I just think when I think it's very shitty characters. Now I get it; these characters were not designed for competitive play. So I'm not saying Sonic's character design is bad in a casual standpoint for what the game was made for, but I will say that Sonic is like horribly made in terms of competitive play. Like Sonic players do 2 moves, like for 70 to 80% of their move pool. So I guess we could also argue that Game Watch is horribly made too, because all they be doing is nair and up B. But
I don't think people would think you're crazy for saying that. But
right. So it would be between Game & Watch and Sonic. I think those 2 characters are like, I don't mind them being good. I just would like them to not do 2 moves. And
I
if
think
you look
Game
back,
Watch might be a little more unfortunate because I think there's a lot of effort and soul put into his design for what the character is. It's just how he ended up playing.
Yeah,
but Sonic, there's actually like the whole like rework is the most common. Like he's one of the most common characters to say. So like that one, like we can fix this. Game & Watch, it might be more of a balance patch kind of thing rather than a moveset kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess what I would do is one thing I would do is remove intangibility. You could just nerf the spin moves, so he's forced to use other moves, and the strategy isn't like hit you and then approach my spin moves. That's the problem with Sonic, is it's very hard to approach spin moves, and not every character is Fox McCloud with crazy run speed and a frame 4 dash attack, right? So there are characters that can combat it, but not everyone is going to move as fast as Fox and have that quick of a dash attack, because that's like a rush down character exclusive thing, right? So it's just really problematic for these slower characters to approach into spin dash. So you could just straight up nerf spin dash. That's the easy way. Or you can rework the spin moves. I don't know exactly what I would do to them, but my basis is I would make spin dash approachable. Like you can go into spin dash and it's like somewhat feasible to fight that move when your offense is going against the defense of these spin moves.
I saw a couple that came to mind, like in terms of reworking. Like if we're gonna have this Jim Sora in the game, at least make him Kingdom Hearts 2. Like at least give him some of that moveset, because he came up with like his Kingdom Hearts 2 stuff was way cooler than his Kingdom Hearts 1 stuff.
Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora is the coolest Sora for sure. Like
exactly, yeah. Like, and there's just more you can work with there, I feel like. Even though I do respect going with the classic. Banjo, make that character fun, man. Like I don't know what you need to do. What, you don't think so, Gavin?
I think Banjo is a little overhated in that department. I actually do think he's fun, but I know that he's lower on the list of I'm not defending him fully. I'm saying maybe it's a little too much, just too much hate.
A slow zoner, anyway. And Bowser Jr., take him out the cart. I want Mini Bowser. That's what I want. Take him out the cart, man. Get rid of it.
He's still cool in the cart, but that is what I initially wanted as a kid. That's
what I want. I thought he'd be like Squirtle plus Bowser is what I was hoping for.
I was thinking Bowser plus weapon user with some special mechanics with his specials with like
paintbrush, yeah, something, man. I feel like
it would be so cool. The paintbrush, man. Fuck.
He would have potential to be super good. I'll tell you that much.
I'm also 10 out of 10 surprised that Charles did not buff Diddy or change him to be more like Brawl Diddy. I was very surprised at that.
We have other issues. I'm trying to save the fucking community. All right.
Well, I give Ken
other
super
pressing
meter.
Issues. Okay.
Give Ken a better grab and give him a super meter like Terry. Then we're good.
Obviously buffing Fox would be fucking crazy, or like reworking Fox to give him some Smash 4 bullshit.
All right, if your character just won a major, you don't get to buff them. That's how I feel about it.
Okay, or bringing back Brawl DDD, that's my selfish pick. But
there you go.
I am for the fucking community, damn it.
Nah.
I'll change Sonic.
That's a really good answer. It is.
I would pick Donkey Kong.
Wait, fuck, can I delete Steve? Is that like an option? I would delete Steve if I could.
That's technically changing him, yes. I'm surprised none of us. You said you just named the community.
Damn,
you did not go after Steve.
Oh my god, you're right. Wait a minute. There's other pushing. Like Sonic isn't even the worst problem.
No, he's not. Yeah,
I would definitely.
He might be. Yeah, I think Steve is like the number.
I would
one.
Rework Steve. There's some shit that is like I don't mind him being powerful, but like him being on a block, counting to give his intangibility back, like this planking bullshit needs to go. Like that's the first thing that has to get reworked from Steve. Like that was for sure an oversight.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
And I think the easy ones after that are like Minecart, Anvil, and like how much he could build. Period. Like just that.
Spawning in with iron. You don't even fucking spawn in iron with Minecraft. Can we stay true to the source material, please?
You can't build in the air.
You can't fucking build blocks in midair. Can we also please stay true to the source material? Like I don't mind branching it off from the stage, but yeah. And then on top of that, like just how overtuned Diamond, Sword, and Anvil and Cart are just so obviously like
those are the ones,
just cranked to the max overtune. Like you're at 40, like bop, you're gone.
Up tilt, talking about up tilt.
Oh yeah, the moving tilt attack that is like plus on block, and I can move around and do it. Yeah,
Gavin, you want to buff Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong. It's more about the rework than the buff, and I don't think his whole moveset is bad. I would like to see Diddy and DK's dash attacks actually go off ledges.
Oh, definitely. That's fun. I like that. That's good.
I would love to replace.
It's broken.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, probably.
Did he?
Yeah, I
He did it
know.
in
But
PM. Didn't he have that in PM?
they
I thought
both
he
they
did.
both did, and it was very good for both of them. I would like to see a special move get replaced.
Coconut gun.
I actually would prefer side B to go. I don't know how controversial that is among people who love these characters. I think giving him a coconut gun or a barrel would be good. For
Barrel uppy is godlike. That's so cool.
barrel uppy would be good. I always think of him using it offensively, but recovery is a great idea too. I would also like to see DK maybe get some sort of move when he's crouching, or like, I don't necessarily want to replace something, but some sort of move where he blows like air, because he does that in like the like Donkey Kong Returns type of games, like the newer ones. For like, like obstacles in the map and stuff. I think that would be cool. But there's also other characters. There's not actually a lot that wasn't already said, but DK would be cool. I would also like something to be different with his up B, whether it's a new move entirely, or maybe he gets to do like an air dodge after, or like maybe one attack like Olimar. It might get a little weird and broken offensively, but something would be cool. But overall, I love DK and Smash. It's more so just because I like him that I would like him to be even cooler. Um, Mario is also a big one for me. Like Mario and Kirby, I would love to see them get reworked just
The
because
64 characters, man. They're so
they have a
like
lot of
they're
they have a
so
lot of
dry.
games. They have a
Well,
lot of
that's
cool
what's tough
stuff.
though, because where do you draw the line between changing them, but also everyone loves their design in Smash? Yeah. Do I want to see Ganon get updated where he's not a Falcon clone? Yes,
It's
but
scary
also
because we're so used to it. It's scary.
yes, but at the same time, like no, I don't. Like
Except
I
my
do, but
fucking character got reworked. Brawl DDD chopped.
Well, that's why DK is more
Bullshit.
important to me than Mario and Kirby, because for Mario, some of this could just be new characters in the future, like Paper Mario or like other like
Ooh, okay.
like like it doesn't necessarily have to be, but there's still a lot of stuff that Mario specifically could and probably should have in Kirby too. Um, and then I guess there's other stuff, like I've talked about Sephiroth competitively. Like I think he's amazing, but there's a few weird things. But I think the movesets are more fun to talk about. But yeah, that's it. Those are the things for me.
It's a good question. Let's
Great
see.
question.
All right, this is a two-parter question, mostly for Tweek from Wolf. Tweek is always talking about Diddy Kong tech and how he enjoys that. There's more to learn. I'd love to know what Diddy Kong tech Gavin knows about, but has yet to implement into his gameplay, and is it even necessary to learn to succeed long term? And to add on to that, a similar question: how do you balance Diddy and Sephiroth? What's your advice on co-maining and how to juggle multiple characters? So, I can help with the co-main thing, but I don't
Yeah,
do a lot of Diddy tech in my spare time.
I guess
so.
I'll answer the first part, and then we can talk about co-maining. I pretty much do everything I know about, where I think I can, and all that. There's still things that I want to do better and more often. There's a handful of different pop gun cancels I do, and the shield state pop gun cancel I don't do as much as I would like to. Depends on the comfortability, and I do a lot of practicing online, and sometimes I feel like that makes it hard. Um, there's also a lot of stuff people are labbing with footstool banana down toss, and there's a lot of differences with what you can do depending on if the banana is one or two uses. And the interesting thing about banana footstool with Diddy is it's the same frame data pretty much as like a Z drop out of shield with banana, but it's both sides for footstool, and the footstool is larger than what the Z drop would be in terms of range. So there's a lot to think about there. Uh, I've only had like one day of playing with it on my mind, so I would say that's it. And then for co-maining, um, I don't know. It's tough. I play Diddy and Sephiroth because I love them, and I just try to find the synergy afterwards. um, so yeah, it's as I play. Sometimes it's like who I'm up against, what I'm up against. Um, but yeah, sometimes I try to think about stages, and I try to give myself as much as a game plan as possible. but I'm not necessarily playing them with the whole idea of like a super crazy co-main. But there is definitely some pros. So yeah, it's nothing specific. Sometimes it's who I think is playing better that day too. Like I'm very momentum based, and like, you know, I really try to tap into my emotions and my feelings and go from there every tournament. So, and a lot of times people don't even consider me a co-main because it's mostly Diddy a lot of the time. It feels like my Sephiroth is becoming something for certain players and like a handful of characters, and sometimes a momentum thing if I'm playing well. So like I in my head I treat them as my mains, but you know, some people consider it more about like tournament usage, which is fair.
Yeah, I think that's more common is you have a main and then like a secondary that picks up bad matchups or player matchups or whatever.
Yeah.
Or a
The thing
fuck
with
it option.
co-maining,
Like I give up
yeah,
option.
or
Donkey
that,
Kong.
yeah. That's not give up. That's hope. Actually, is what that is.
Yeah. It's actually trying to scare the other person, I guess.
GG. Yeah, intimidation factor.
Yeah.
With co-maining, I think you should have. I think it's better to main one character than have a secondary that complements them. I think that's the right way to do it. In Ultimate, there are so many characters, and being able to cover every single matchup with two characters, I think is possible, probably. And usually it's Game & Watch as the second character, and whoever is the first. Um, he's just such a good secondary. He really, really is, and easy to pick up. So if you're looking for an easy secondary pickup that helps your bad matchups, look to Game & Watch. And then if you're doing what Gavin and I like to do, where you just really like two characters and you want them to work, it comes down to being a player matchup thing. If I want to rush someone down, I'm not picking Belmont. I'll tell you that much. But if I want to camp someone, because I don't know, usually I think they're a better player than me, or I need to try to kind of check them on a couple ways to camp them, then I'll pick Belmont. But right now, actually, thanks to Gavin, it's been Belmont first, and then I go Ken for some bad matchups that they have. And I think as long as you have a plan and some logic behind it, then it'll help you out than just being a
Yeah.
solo main. But
Sometimes
there's
it's not
also,
even about being right or wrong, like you're saying.
yeah,
Sometimes it's about confidence going into the game, like feeling like you have a plan A, a plan B, and it it takes the stress off of yourself and
yeah.
maybe your characters sometimes.
Having more options is always good. And I think, I mean, if you and I, they asked, who would you play against this person, or who would you play against this character in the cast? You and I would know straight up every single answer to every single. Like, I would know, like, if I looked at a
Yeah.
bracket and I was going to play, and you gave me, you have a Fox round one, then you have a Wolf, and you have this, I know exactly who I'm going to go and who I'm not in those matchups. So,
Yeah.
it helps. It feels nice for sure.
Yeah. And then
More options are good.
for my competitive experience, I usually just solo main, but in Ultimate there's this weird transition phase where I started the game being a wolf main, then I wanted to transition to fox, and both those characters are too similar. So I think that's a bad thing, is you don't want two characters that are too similar.
Good
As
point.
like, if because like wolf and fox, like they're not too similar, like, but I think they were similar enough to really, it didn't really make sense. It's like, do I want the slower pacing spacey that can time out and just sit back with blaster and it really matters, or do I want like the fast neutral, right? And I kind of just would go off of matchups like that. Wolf's hitboxes are bigger, but fox has like more damage output, and stuff like that. And I'm more, I mean, I don't compete much, but if I were to play in a tournament like right now, I would just go only fox. There's no point in me going wolf. I've just been playing only fox for like the past couple of years, and I've been also working on my pocket Game & Watch. I think the main thing for
Nice.
if you're going to co-main it, like there's co-main and then there's pocket strategy. I think it's the same shit, but you want another character that's easy, and the idea is that you want to actually counterpick really hard. So old school pockets and counterpicks would be like, oh, let me get the blanket top tier like Wolf or Lucina. That's my blanket strategy. But I feel like it's not that effective because you don't win matchups very hard. You either going into an even matchup or something slightly favored for you. That's why I think Game & Watch is an incredible pocket right now. He's easy to play, so you hit that check market. And the matchups that Game & Watch wins, like he fucks people up. Like he invalidates characters.
Yeah.
But then he gets shit on by a certain archetype, right? Which is like swords. So, if you have Game & Watch, as long as your main character can kind of beat this archetype, then you should be fine. So you kind of, the way I put it is, you want your main character and understand the archetype that you lose to. And once you understand the archetype you lose to, you can pick a character that is generally good against that archetype. So I think Diddy Game & Watch is a very good combination. I think Diddy Wolf is a very good combination. I think Diddy not Sephiroth is not good, but Diddy Cloud is a good combination. So these are all combinations that I think is very good with Diddy, and obviously I could pull it out the top of my head because it's something that me and Gavin have talked to a lot about.
Yeah.
But that's like more on paper theory crafting stuff. At the end of the day, just as long as the two characters you play you like and you're motivated to play the game, because that's the most important.
Yeah. I think a good point is, what is the point of your second character? Is it to complement? Usually it's to complement your first character, but not every single time. Like, it's going to be pretty rare where if you play two characters in Ultimate that they'll have an identical matchup spread or one that doesn't help each other out in any way. So is your secondary there just to support your main? In which case, like, I'm a true Roy main, you know? Is that like what you're going with in your heart and soul? And then you just want someone to back him up? Or do you want a co-main? Do you want to have two mains, you know? Because I do think there is a slight nuanced difference, but not by a ton. It's kind of like I always think of Pocket Cloud. Like, that's like the easiest example of a good pocket in Smash 4.
I also think it's really important to just not limit yourself or like play by rules that are kind of made up. Like, oh, I gotta play this character, or I can't play this character even though I like them, or I have to limit myself to one or two. I think, don't be afraid to experiment and do what feels right to you, and kind of format it from there rather than like setting yourself up with imaginary rules. You know what I mean?
You will have to play bad matchups at the end of the day, so suck it up. There's no reality. You pick certain two characters. You're like, I have aligned the stars perfectly. I will never play a bad matchup ever in my fucking life. Like, I feel like most people ask
Steve's in the game, so I don't know about that.
I mean, I still think Steve has bad matchups.
I do too.
Yes, I think he has bad matchups.
I still think Sephiroth wins. I still think he wins.
I used to. I don't know, man. The risk reward is insane.
The risk reward is insane. I mean, it's the same fucking argument with Smash 4 Bayo, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, Sheik wins, but like, what if fucking Bayo gets a random fucking up B or side B? Like,
which time you're dead?
I understand that argument, but yeah,
I guess it makes sense because I thought Sheik won, so it makes sense that I'm saying Sephiroth beats Steve. I'm true to myself.
Depends. Well, like you said, Gavin, there's no hard real rules. Like, it depends on how you feel about it, right? Like, it's whatever. Sure. I think so. We're coming up in an hour here. I think we'll do one more question from this Discord. If you guys want to jump in the Stride Esports Discord and check that out, you can type us messages and questions, and if they're good, we'll read them, and if not, we'll ignore them and laugh at you behind your back. So that's cool. Last question for the day from Narnia. Do you think the decline of Ultimate is often exaggerated? In Smash 4, when we talked about the fall of the game, we talked about how often top 8s were the same people and characters. But in this game, we see a lot of new players and a variety of characters. I think that is a great point to kick it off, honestly. I think that's exactly where I would start if I was going to argue that the decline of the game is gone. We're still seeing new people win tournaments that we haven't seen in a long time, or winning bigger level tournaments and doing well with characters. Like, a lot of vanilla characters are still doing very well. I think it's tough. I think we're seeing obviously the spot that the meta is in. I think the true decline of the game isn't necessarily at the results at a national stage, but how does that affect, and how does the game currently live at the local level is really important to me. I know locals aren't doing amazing right now, and I think a part of that is a lot of new games are coming. We just spent half this episode talking about new games. And those are just single player games. We're not even talking about Street Fighter that's been out for 2 months or whatever and is doing really well. Mortal Kombat just came out. Tekken's coming down the pipeline. I think looking at the overall health of a game has a lot more to do than just people and characters that are winning tournaments. I think that's a very big red flag. If you see top 8 at Evo is 8 of the same character, that's really, really not good. I don't think that's the problem that Ultimate might be having right now. And I think the problem Ultimate is having is more at a smaller local level, because our majors are still doing great. They're still doing amazing. So I think it depends on how you define what the decline of Ultimate is. I'd say at a big level, we're still doing great. Viewership's really good, if I'm not mistaken, Charles. Yep. You know more about that stuff than I do. Every time I look down at Twitch chat, there's a ton of viewers. I think one of the biggest thing Ultimate has going for it too is how many big regions are involved, and how many the EU scene, Japanese scene. They're just so important, man. And I think it's such a global game and presence, and people still love it. I definitely don't get the same vibes as the end of Smash 4. Not even close with this game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've lived through it. It is a little too doomer. I agree 1,000%, because I still have a really good time watching and playing this game. So, but that's just me personally.
I think it's natural when you've been playing something so long to start to kind of gravitate towards the doomer side, and there is some stuff to doom about, I guess, if you want to be reasonable and realistic. But I think the biggest thing Ultimate has going for it that is the best thing to kind of latch onto, and I think we already are, is that we're a bit more global than we're used to. And I think that's also a big reason why we're seeing new faces, new characters, different results, is because there's a bunch of tournaments happening at once, and it's like everywhere around the world, like a lot of different places. And it makes it more exciting when, some of those regions come together a little bit more at some of these tournaments. And I think that's the best thing we have going for us right now. And that's why we're gonna keep seeing characters performing at different rates and new faces, but we still have people that have been around for a long time doing really well as well. So I think we have a lot of the pros of what we're used to from other games, but we're also a lot more global than we're used to seeing. So I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little bit of insight on how bad the end of Smash 4 was. You guys think the Steve hate and shit and the Kazuya hate is bad? People really hated Smash 4.
It was bad, yeah.
It was...
She got booed when she was revealed for Ultimate. She got booed.
Yes, like,
that shit's
people
crazy.
Hated Bayonetta so much. And on top of that, it was justified because of the oversaturation. On top of that, there was there was also just way more other bullshit than just Bayo. Like the whole game was just so fucked up. Like, oh, hey, 80% of the cast gets completely shut down by some dude that just picked up Cloud yesterday. Oh, you main Yoshi? Too bad you're gonna get completely shit on by some dude's Pocket Cloud that's been playing the game for a month. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
When Bayo came out, there was people that have picked up the game in 2 to 3 months and they're winning their locals. Like it was bad. And then on top of that, when Ultimate got released or announced, you got to imagine that everyone fucking hated this game. It was on a not so great Nintendo system, the Wii U. Not a lot of people owned it, right? So not a crazy amount of viewership. You didn't get that much content, number of views in general, right? And then everyone hated the game already. We're waiting on an opportunity to not go to a tournament, right? Ultimate gets announced. Everyone at their locals literally see me in Ultimate, you're dog shit. I'm going to shit on you in Ultimate. This game's trash. I'm serious. I wouldn't be saying this kind of stuff. That would be way too outlandish. But so I used to go to Wednesday night fights, and this is the biggest local in SoCal, right? For fighting games. It would be incredibly stacked. SoCal was one of the strongest regions in Smash 4, right? At the end of Smash 4, we would have less than 8-man brackets, and I would solo commentate those tournaments. And I'm talking this is one of the most popping regions in all of America.
It was 8 people?
Yes, 8 12-man brackets. I even won one of the Wednesday night fights. And let me tell you, I thought I was pretty good in Smash 4, but I should not be winning a Wednesday night fights in SoCal. I should not be winning SoCal locals in Smash 4. You know what I'm saying? So, and on top of that, I would solo commentate them too. So it was pretty fucking grim. No one was playing the game. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So that I feel like people get doomer about Ultimate, but they haven't seen the lowest of lows. And Smash 4 was a very low because everything sucked about it, and then Ultimate looked so promising that no one wanted to put time into Smash 4.
You know what, too? The doom always starts when the DLC's done rolling out and the patches stop as well. Because people, they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. That's a part of it for sure, because beginning of the game, Wolf or whoever, Pichu, whoever, they're all broken. It's okay. It's the beginning of the game. All right, that's cool. We'll figure it out. Now we're wishing that we had Pichu back, that we had Wolf back, and all that stuff.
I'm not wishing about Olimar, though. I mean, dude, if Olimar...
Oh, the Olimar was insane. We don't talk about that enough, honestly, as a community, how broken he was.
Yes.
He's still good.
Still solid, yeah. Has a place in the meta. I would say Olimar has a place in the meta.
He's I actually think Olimar, I appreciate him so much.
Yeah. Only because he started playing Pikmin. All right.
Yeah, no, but he's still cool. He's fun to hit, bro. I'm just saying.
One of those characters.
What?
When you hit Olimar, he can only fight his way out and whistle his way out. He's not going anywhere.
No.
I like hitting that guy. All right. Yeah. I think that about does it. We're going to wrap it up and go into the Patreon bonus content. Today we're going to be talking about best of 3 and best of 5, the differences and all that good stuff. And thank you so much for watching, everyone.
See you.
Peace.
Bye.